That's the fillers. The F word in public speaking is fillers. So what is the filler? Categorized, it can be divided into filler sounds, filler words, and filler phrases. And fillers not just happen in public speaking or speaking, it's also in writing and even inside language. For example, with all the filler sounds that we usually use, filler words, well, okay, so, like, and even some phrases. For example, you know, I believe me, and so on. I will demonstrate 2 sample speech, and you will see how it looks like. Glossophobia, you know, is a fear of public speaking. It's a subset of, you know, these social anxiety disorder. And it takes account about 25% of, you know, people who experience glossophobia. The second example. Do you want to see a movie tonight? What movie? You know, the new movie, The Batman. The Batman, not Batman. The Batman. How do you see the difference, or how do you perceive the 2 examples? The first one and the second one. Is that something different? Do you perceive them as nervous, unprofessional, hesitant? Or do you perceive them as natural?
Natural. Second one.
Yes. That's the reason why fillers words are very common in daily conversation. People use that very often. It's so common that when it applies to public speaking, it doesn't go there quite well. Then it comes to the reason why we have the fillers. In daily conversation, the reason why you have the fillers is that you want to make sure, you want to give a sign that you're still talking. When you talk to someone and you don't want to make a pause, because the other one might think you already stopped and they're gonna jump into your mouth. You don't want to do that. You still make the, and that is the thinking process that you making signal to the other one that you're still on the stage. But when you have the public speaking or making a presentation, that filler doesn't work because no one's gonna jump here and take my space. And then for that reason, you want to eliminate as much as possible the fillers. I have accumulated the knowledge from Google, Internet, and they come in through some common method that you can use to avoid or basically to minimize the fillers. First of all, be aware. The first thing first, if you want to make a change, you have to be aware of that. How to do that? One way is that record yourself, self-recording, and then watch back the recording to catch if you have the fillers. Because when you talk, you don't really notice that you have it or not. The second way to do that is asking someone, friends, family members, someone, they're gonna signal you when you have a filler. Either by raising your hand, tap, then you know that you have a filler. Third way, join Toastmaster. Then you can have the environment. We don't have the R counter today. Usually we have someone who will count the fillers, then you will know that you're using the fillers. There's a technique in Toastmaster also with the fillers. We haven't used that. It's a little bit intrigued in the way that if I say a filler, they're gonna raise your hand, they will raise the hand or they make a sound, then it kind of give an instant feedback signal that you're aware that you have a filler. But it's a little bit intrusive and some people don't like that, so it's quite up to the person. The second method is to have a pause. Generally speaking, with a general speech, you're going to have a short, medium, or long pause, usually less than a second. But they say a great speaker or a great speech usually have a longer pause, about 2 to 3 seconds. And you want to have a pause purposely already planned into your speech, then it's not something that very sudden happened. And you want to make the bigger pause for a more important thing that's coming up after. And get back to the daily conversation, they have a talk about the information you receive after the pause or after the fillers. Actually, people pay more attention when the filler comes up. People aware of that information might be more important and they remember that information better. That's why also the fillers happen in daily conversation. The third one is to practice and practice and practice. It takes a lot of time to change the habit, and once you're already aware of that, make sure that you want to change it and then practice the way that you can avoid using the fillers. And the one way that you can do also with the practice is when you start to think that you're gonna say the fillers, back to the pause, is that start, close your lip, take a breath, and then continue, so you don't actually articulate the filler sound. That's all of my 3 methods that you can use to avoid filler words. Filler words in general is not something bad, but it's just not that great in public speaking. Try to minimize as much as possible and you will have a better speech and the audience will receive your message directly. Thank you.